I get it. I understand the crime that I committed was a very heinous crime.
And not for a short period of time, for a long time. You were doing this for a long time with each of them. And that's what you, that's what you report. You reported that.
But what has happened during the time of this so-called allegation, DCF was involved. And the only reason why I didn't go to trial was because I walked in and seen a female judge. And I was like, yeah, no. Give me the 8 years.
And ladies and gentlemen, Mandalorians, we are about to watch the parole hearing that will shock the senses. It will shock anybody with common sense. And do you want to know why? Well, this is a father who not only harmed 1, 2, but all 3 of his children, all 3 of them under the age of 13. And do you know what happens? He shows up to his parole hearing and says, they made it up. I didn't even do it. I am innocent. I only pled guilty and said, give me 8 years because there was a female judge. But that's not really what pisses me off. You see, what pisses me off is that he was only sentenced 7/31 of 2020. Yet, just a few years into his sentence, already up for parole. But still, that's not what pisses me off the most. What pisses me off the most is that the state of Connecticut, following their static 9-9 evaluation, they say that this man is a low risk to reoffend. They say that the odds that he will harm another child is low. And do you want to know why? They use the static 9-9 risk assessment, which, by the way, almost all 50 states in America use. It was developed by 2 entrepreneurs back in the 90s. Those entrepreneurs make money selling these risk assessments and the training on how to use it to the prisons. And ever since then, we've been using them. We know they don't make sense. We know they are dangerous. We know it's madness. But yet, the system still uses it. And we're going to see just how insane that is. We are going to hear from the victims, and then we are going to see grant or deny parole. And with that, let's jump in.
Jason Dodie, 425-292.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Jason Dodie, inmate number 425-292. He is serving a sentence of 8 years followed by 10-year special parole for 3 counts of illegal sexual contact of a victim under the age of 16 and 3 counts of sex 1 with a victim under the age of 13 and the actor more than 2 years old. As of today, records reflect the parole eligibility date of January 23rd, 2025. There is victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan for the offender. It has been reviewed and shows the offender has completed the short-term sex treatment program and voices during his incarceration. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender's overall score falls within the low range risk of recidivism. I do apologize. I need to get the
static.
And slow.
So it's low, and the SO tip is also low.
No worries.
We have the phone.
I can. So it's so two and then combine accurate risk is low.
Thank you. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender's overall score for sexual offense recidivism falls within the low range. Mr. Dodie, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
I think I should be granted parole due to the fact that I feel like I've changed a lot since I've been in. I do feel very sympathetic of the victims, and I'm sorry. But there's not enough time in the world to say I'm sorry for the crime that I committed.
Can you hear?
Yes,
Oh, there you go. So it's out again.
Okay, go ahead. Are you done?
I feel I deserve parole because of the fact I feel like I've changed in the past 7 years. Well, almost 7 years of being incarcerated. I've done a lot of different thinking about what I've done. I've had time to start to take responsibility for my actions on what I have done. And this is also just my first incarceration ever. And I don't plan on coming back.
Okay, are you done?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna take turns to ask you questions, and there's victims' input from the Office of Victim Services.
Yes.
They are actually trying to get connected. There was some technical difficulties. So let me just make sure that she's connected. Ms. Williams?
She's muted. She might not know that.
And she's
I
on.
think I'm connected now. Thank you. Madam Chair, are you looking for the victim statement now?
No.
Okay.
Are you looking for the statement?
We just
Oh.
wanted to make sure she was connected.
Oh,
Are you going to read the statement?
I am when you're ready.
Why don't you go ahead and read it?
Okay. To whom it may concern, I am the mother of the 3 victims whom he sexually abused. I don't agree with him getting released early. I feel he should do his full sentence and more. Because of him, my daughters deal with depression and anxiety every day. They don't feel safe in this world because of him. Every day, they think about what he did to them. The pain haunts them. One of them fears men because of what she has been through. Second daughter, every time she looks at a guy, she sees his face in them. My son has to sleep with a stuffed animal as comfort at an adult age to feel safe at night. My kids' childhood was taken from them because of the sick things he did to them. How could someone do what he did to kids he said he loved? It makes me sick. No one should have to live in fear. With me, I deal with anxiety and PTSD because of what he did to my kids. I fear leaving my house and going to work. Because of him, I do not trust anyone with my kids anymore. One of my daughters and me can't even go to an event with tons of people because we're afraid something might happen. Every day is a struggle in life, not knowing who to trust. It's unfair to us to have to live in fear every day. He is a monster, a piece of crap, heartless person that should not be let out. He ruined our lives forever. If he does get released, please put him far away from Waterbury as possible. We don't need to see him. Our lives are messed up as it is because of him. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you, Ms. Hamlet Williams.
You're welcome.
Okay. So, Mr. Dodie, we're going to begin our questions with Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, Mr. Dodie.
Good afternoon.
I agree this is your first offense, but it's a very, very serious offense.
Yes, I know.
Early on in your statement, you said you accepted responsibility. What are you accepting responsibility for?
I feel bad that they went through this once before with their father, and then when I tried to bring it up in court that this is the same exact thing that they did to somebody else, I was wrong. I couldn't bring it up in court. Now,
What?
They might have thought I did something to them. I would never hurt anybody.
So are you now denying that you did anything?
No. They might have thought I
Did
did.
you say, I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Did you say yep?
No,
What did you say? You said no?
I said no. But I did not do everything that they accused me of doing.
Oh, I see. So you limitedly did something.
Yes. And I am very sorry about it. If I could take it back, I would. But I can't change that. I cannot change the
Well, that's
past.
true. That's very true. And you know,
I
what do you
can
think's
only
going on?
change-
Well, you kind of heard what's going on with them, right?
Yes. But also, at the time of my arrest, I had custody of my two boys, and when I told her I was going to take her to court for full custody and child support of my two boys,
So,
Oh, I
Mr.
know,
Dodie,
I know you're going, I know you're gonna go, I know where you're going with this. We read it about it already. You're gonna blame that she was kind of getting back at you for trying to take custody of the boys.
I had a text message to prove it.
Yeah,
But when
that's
I-
it.
but Mr. Dodie,
But
we
I'm-
want you to tell us why you feel you deserve parole today.
I think I deserve parole because of the fact that I felt like I have changed a lot since I've been in, okay? I also got denied community release because of the victim's statement, okay? I get it. I understand the crime that I committed was a very heinous crime.
And not for a short period of time, for a long time. You were doing this for a long time with each of them. And that's what you reported that.
But what has happened during the time of this so-called allegation, DCF was involved. And the only reason why I didn't go to trial was because I walked in and seen a female judge. And I was like, yeah, no.
Oh,
Give
that's
me
why
the
you-
8 years.
Okay, well, look,
But
you,
I feel sorry. Like I said, if I could take it back, I would.
but you
but I
can't
think
take
over
it
the
back.
time-
The issue is you can't take it back. But what you can do is try to get some help. So what we're trying to find out is what help is it that you got that changes you, that makes you a different person on the outside? Because we have to figure out, does it make sense to release you or not today? So
Yeah.
unless we feel comfortable that you're going to be
Okay.
released and that children are going to be safe on the outside, and the community is going to be safe, then we can't even go there.
I can guarantee you, I will never go near anybody like that ever again.
That's not what I asked you. What I
I
asked you, what have you learned in your you took the short-term sex offender treatment program. What did you learn? You took voice. What did you learn? Because I'm not hearing anything you learned.
in voices, I learned to take responsibility. So yes, I did commit the crime. Yes. Okay. In
Well,
the
voices
sexual
really
offense
talks more
program,
about
in the sexual offense program, I learned that I can't just do what I want and get away with it. Because there's always a punishment for something you do in your life. And I believe from being incarcerated for almost 7 years now and everything else, I think I deserve to be able to try a second chance in society and try to change my life for the better.
Well, you served your time because you were convicted of an offense that you committed and you have to do your time. I mean, that's really, we're here to try to figure out if there's a way that we give you an opportunity to come out because you learned some things and you've made some changes in your life inside. And I'm going to be quite honest with you, I'm not hearing that at this particular point in time from you. So I hear you being defensive and I hear you, minimizing some of your actions and I think, that you really have to, take more responsibility for the things that you've done.
And I have admitted that, yes, I did commit the crime and I'm sorry. Okay. I learned over the time of being incarcerated that, how can I put this? That it was wrong for what I did, that their life means more than that, than to be a monster. And I believe I deserve it because of the fact that I've been doing my best to stay out of trouble and try to move forward.
But you have this thing I see that you have this thing out of control, but the problem for me is that, you really have this thing, Sandra. You had a ticket in June.
Yes, and that was
I was
That
looking
was
at your-
because we don't have our normal hot pots. I'll admit it, we don't have our normal hot pots. So I made something so I can cook. I took responsibility. I said it, yes, it was mine. Yes, I did do it. Yes, I had it. I know I shouldn't have.
But you did it.
I never came out and admitted to people when I did something wrong or when I had something I shouldn't have. Over the
Dodie,
7 years,
I'm-
I've also tried to sign up for other classes and everything, and do other things to try to change myself more, and they told me, no, not if it's not on your OAP.
I think there are quite a few things on your OAP.
That was, I had a job. A recommendation for school, I wrote them, they said, if we need any information from you, we will contact you. And then they never contacted me.
Well, you have to advocate for yourself too. You know, it just can't be them reaching out. You gotta, for your own benefit, for your own health, your own, your own ability to change.
But I'm trying to get out because of the fact I want to get out of Connecticut. I want to get away from everybody. I want to go somewhere where I can start fresh and not have to have problems and deal with.
I'm sure that you want to do that. I'm sure that you want to do that, but I'm gonna be honest, I don't hear that change today. So I'm gonna pass it on to my colleagues. So I'm sure I have some questions they want to ask you.
Okay.
Good luck to you.
Yeah, I just have one or two very quick questions. So, Mr. Dodie, I don't know what you're accepting responsibility for today. Because when the interview for the Center for the Treatment CTPSB evaluation was done, you provided 3 detailed description of what you did to the 3 victims. In August, let me finish, of this same year, 2024, when the parole officer interviewed you, you denied committing any of the offenses and said you blamed the mother.
So
You said it was all on her.
when
So
they came,
I don't know, today you're speaking, I don't know what you're taking responsibility for, but I'm gonna say to you, this is a very heinous crime over an extensive period of time, and it's 3 young victims.
okay,
And I heard from the mother of the victims and the state of the 3 victims and herself today. And so I'm just being straight up with you. I am not going to grant or approve your discretionary parole today.
okay, that's
Ms.
fine.
Turner?
So, Mr. Dottie, you have guaranteed us that you're not going to go near people. I assume you mean not commit these offenses, this type of offense again? Is that what you're
Yes.
guaranteeing? Okay,
Yes.
all right.
But
So
I'm
in
gonna-
order to guarantee that, you have to know why you did it. Why did you do it?
Well, see, I did it because of the fact that she was, I was not in the right mind. I was thinking in the wrong state of mind at the time. And
What was that state of mind? Were you under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
no,
Okay, so what was the state of mind? That the children wanted it?
no, it's because it happened to me when I was 5, then it happened to me when I was 16, and it happened to me when I was 17 and 18, until I finally came out and told my grandmother about it. And the 2 guys who did it when I was 16 and 17 committed suicide when I told them I was coming out to tell. So I thought it was
Sounds
okay.
like you haven't gotten the appropriate help to heal and recover from your own victimization, and instead, knowing the pain that it caused you, you turned around and victimized 3 vulnerable children. Do I have that right?
Yes, and if I could take it back, I would.
That's
Trust me.
meaningless. That's meaningless. It's not possible, so it doesn't mean anything. So, what are you going to do to ensure that you do not victimize any children in the future?
If I have any urges, I will go talk to somebody and get more help. I'm willing to do whatever classes I have to do when I get out
Good. Okay,
to
that's a
better
start.
myself so I can go somewhere and move out of Connecticut. You know, I have somebody that's waiting for me to come home that we're talking about getting married.
You have a fiance?
Yes,
Who is this person? Where did you meet this person?
I met Sherry on, through a friend of mine that told her to write me, and she started writing me, and we got like
So
really
you've
close
never
to each
met her?
other.
You've
Never
never met
in
her?
person, not in person.
Okay, but you think you're going to marry her?
And she knows what I'm in here for, and she knows everything about it.
Well, you know, I'm not sure she knows everything about it because what you've presented to us today is a lot of
She looked it up.
inconsistencies.
She looked it up. She looked everything up. She knows everything about it.
Okay, so you're asking for parole because you want to start this new relationship.
I want to start a new life and get away from, even, I know I have kids with her, and it was court ordered by the court when I went for the sentencing to be able to have visitation with my two boys. It was court ordered. But I'm willing to give that up just to get out of this place and get away from everybody because I'm having
But
more
you know
problems
what?
in here.
You know what, Mr. Dottie? You can't run from yourself. And the real problem is you and the choices that you're making out in the community. And you're offering us this meaningless guarantee when you are attributing your abuse of children, your victimization of children to your own victimization, but you clearly haven't done the work to deal with your own trauma history to prevent you from reoffending.
Can I explain something to you? I got
I'm
arrested
listening.
back when I was 12 for not going to school. Okay? I did 18 months in the children's home of Cromwell to go to school. I came out, I did 18 years without getting in trouble again. And I guaranteed the judge I would never step foot in front of him again. And I never did.
Well, I'm not finding you suitable, Mr. Dodie, but
I'm willing to do whatever programs that you guys
That's
want
good.
me to do.
what
I'll do
about
them
the
until the sun
programs
comes
that
up.
you need to do for yourself? Aren't you motivated for your own healing and growth and to prevent yourself from being back in prison for violating children?
It's not a program that can do that. It's me. I'm being honest with you. If you have a will, you can do it. I had a will for 18 years. I had a will for 18 years.
None of us is in life alone, sir. I think you need a lot of help and support
Okay.
if you have that much trauma history of your own.
And I have people that are willing to help me, like my aunt, and I have family who's willing to help me when I need help.
Well, then you are very fortunate, sir. I want to make sure that you understand you have 3 standing criminal protective orders against you until the year 2070. You're
Yep.
aware of that?
Yes.
Okay, and you have a lifetime on the sex offender registry, and it doesn't matter what state you're living in, you'll be on the
Yes,
sex
that's
offender
fine.
registry.
That's fine.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. Mr.
Thank you,
Rodriguez.
Madam Chair. So with Mr. Dodie, as I shared with him earlier, I'm considering the nature of offense in relation to the offense, the nature of this current offense. It didn't show any kind of growth to me in any of the programs that he's taken. In fact, I felt like he was still minimizing what happened, what had gone on. He got DR in June, so he still has some issues within facility. I just don't see the growth in him. I'm not in a place where I feel comfortable releasing him back out to the public at this particular point in discretionary parole.
Okay, so I stated my reasons already. I have no clue what Mr. Dodie is really acknowledging that he did. And he did not identify, by doing that, he doesn't know why he did it. And he participated in treatment, but can't say how helpful it was to him.
I know,
Well,
I want to add injury to his victims as well.
But to me, his takeaway when you asked about the short-term program was not just that what he's doing was wrong, but that he can't get away with it. I thought that's what sentencing would have taught him. I didn't know we had to take the short-term program to know you can't get away with raping children.
Right.
So,
Actually,
You can't say anything.
so I have nature and circumstance, injury and impact, inadequate evidence of
Evidence of
offensive
offensive
change.
okay.
And I had inadequate release plan. Now we're hearing about a fiance.
Yeah, and then I had sexual behavior treatment, halfway house, and no contact with the victims,
And no minors.
and no contact with minors without PO's permission. Yeah. All right. So in the case of Jason Dodie, inmate number 425292, there is a motion to deny discretionary parole for these reasons: nature and circumstances of the current offense, injury and impact to victim and victim's family, inadequate evidence of offender change, and inadequate release plan. I'm also going to set special parole conditions as follow: no contact with victim HS, BH, AH, and JH. Problem sexual behavior treatment, no contact with any persons under the age of 16 in person or through any means of communication without the permission of the parole officer, and released to a halfway house. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so Mr. Dodie, I'm sorry we could not have you today, but we wish you the best of luck.
Okay.
This concludes the hearing for Jason Dodie, inmate number 425292. You're all set, Mr. Dodie.
Thank you.
And we have covered many roaches. We have covered the worst of the worst, but didn't this guy, he just hit differently. What a disgusting POS. And at least the gratifying part of this is that the parole board were as shocked and disgusted as we are. It's nice when that happens. It's nice when we don't feel absolutely like, are we crazy? Is it just, what is going on here? It was Chance, Turner, and Rodriguez. I think maybe the crack force, when I say that, you know, the elite unit of the Connecticut Parole Board. But I even think Mike Pohl would have been disgusted by this monster. But again, where does the anger lie? I can go on and talk about this, Roach, the insanity of it. They called it out, but can you even imagine? I can't just do what I want and get away with it because there's punishment. Can you imagine that he has a woman now that he's talking to at a prison that would take him in to his home? But can you imagine that a DA and a judge would say that, you know what, we're only going to give you 8 years? And now let this sink in. His sentence, it is running up on his full term date. By the time of this recording, he will be out in the streets within 3 months. I'm doing this recording on June 15th of 2025, and his full term date is 11/1/2025. 5 months. He will have served his 8 years. Now, I'm sorry, at the beginning, I know that I said he was only sentenced he was only sentenced in 7/2020. This parole hearing, it took place 10/21/2024. So that was his parole was 4 years from sentencing date, but he was locked up in jail from the time of the arrest in 2018. And now you can see here with the record, and thank you, Sir Richard, on this one, that he has, it looks like the arrests, they all came not immediately at the same time, but it seems that one child said something and then the others, it all came out, because you can see you have an arrest here on 4/6/2018, an arrest on 4/18/2018, and then an arrest on 5/21/2018. So if you can imagine, the crimes are unraveling and he was getting arrested. Probably, I don't know if he was released on jail after the first one, but you can see here, here's one arrest, 4/18/2018. And it is victim 13 years, younger than 13, I think that's what it means, illegal sexual contact. He has another victim, also 13 years, I think 13 years old, 2 years older. I don't know why. Remember, these are plea deals. As we heard, it was a lot, and it was going on for a long time, and it was 3 victims, and it was female and male, and yet he's considered a low risk to reoffend, which, by the way, doesn't make any sense according to the static 9-9, because even the static 9-9, and we'll review that as I had touched on, this is the 10-point questionnaire, which was developed by 2 entrepreneurs, and we'll go over their money-making scheme in the 90s. And it was created by a study that they made, once from the UK, once from Canada. They did this study, which, by the way, is not a peer review study. It's not a public record. Just take their word for it. And they said that with this, they'll be able to decide how risky chomos are. And almost all 50 states in America said, wow, this is great, because it takes the onus off of us, the parole board. We don't need to take responsibility anymore. We'll give this test, this exam thing. They'll say whether it's low risk or high risk, and good, we wash our hands with it. And it's a money-making scheme. The prisons have to pay all this kind of money for training. But even, I just want to point out, this is a 10-point questionnaire. We've gone through it many, many times, but it's just 10 questions. And depending on your age, so if you're 60 years old, you're -3 points. The lower points, the better, right? And we all know that at 60 years old, you all of a sudden, your urge goes away. So of course that makes sense, right? Have you ever lived with a lover? They call it a lover, for at least 2 years. I mean, we all know that chomos never live with lovers that have access to their children. So if you say yes, you're at 0 points. Any non-sexual violence, any convictions, if you don't have, and it goes on and on and on, and basically you end up with 0 points, or -3 to 1 point, you're considered a low risk. Which would mean, by the way, if you are 6 years or older, you've lived with a lover, you have STA'd someone for 10 years, you would still be a low risk. Let that sink in. I don't want you to let that sink in. Now, I don't know how he got a low risk, because we know he had 3 victims. We know he has a male victim, which, by the way, this thing is so archaic that if you have a male victim, your risk is higher. That's what they claim. He should by all means be a higher risk, but here's the kicker. Here's why he's not. And that's because the static 9-9, they allow you to self-report. So if he claims in the report that he only has, 1 victim, or they just take your word for it. We see that. I know it doesn't make sense, but how else would he have a low risk score? He would, by definition, at least have because he'd have 3 victims, and he has a male victim. But now look at this. Let me just show it to you. Here's their Twitter. This is the company that sells it. They call themselves a non-for-profit. It's BS. Anyone can call it. They are technically a non-for-profit, but non-for-profit, it's a big scheme. I think many of us know what that means. You know, you can call yourself a non-for-profit and still make a ton of money, right? See, they sell risk assessment tools. Now, here's something if you wanted any sign. June 9th, they tweeted this. And the time of this recording, June 15th, so 6 days ago. Moving forward, we'll be focusing on communication efforts on other platforms. We invite you to our Facebook, our LinkedIn, and also to our Blue Sky. And let's go down to their tweets, right? Here's an example. This was tweeted June 3rd. Ready to build your skills in dynamic risk assessment? Join us this July for a 14-hour training on Stable 207 and Q207. Here it is, $500. But don't worry, you can get an affiliate discount. And you go to their website, and here on their website, they'll talk about all their programs, all their things. Of course, you pay to attend, and it's a money-making, profit-making machine. I feel like I've digressed on this, but this is the reason that I keep bringing it up. And I know many of you who are Mandalorians and have seen me vent about this time and time again. You will have heard this. But for those of you who are new, I keep bringing this up because this, at least I feel like maybe we can fix, right? I'm not just screaming. I'm not just venting. I'm not just raging. I'm trying to point out that there is a organization created by a Canadian and a Brit that is profiting off of selling tools that are clearly, without a doubt, wrong and dangerous. They are profiting from it, and they are profiting at the expense of our children. And almost all 50 states and other countries use these tools, and it's insane. And we need to write to our governors and our congressmen and our congresswomen and whatever it is that we need to do to get this fixed. And I don't know, we need someone with a loud enough megaphone investigative reporters to go in there. Something needs to be done because it's madness. We all know that the roach we just saw is not a low risk to reoffend. He is a tremendous risk. Thank God he has to be on the registry for life. How many times have we seen roaches like this where they only need to be on the registry for 10 years? He will always be a danger. He will always be a risk. I don't buy his story, even the story he gave. What did he say? I've never had a criminal record. He said, I was put in jail because I missed school. You know what that made me think and realize? That made me realize that this guy is probably, this is just speculation, but probably has offenses in his jacket from when he was a minor that is not showing up, and that's why he went to juvie. He's probably been doing this for a very, very long time. And a DA felt, you know what, let's just do 8 years. And a judge agreed. 3 victims, 3 children, which it's my understanding he was a father figure for. And they feel that doing their job is to lock him up for 8 years. And those 8 years are up. He will be out within months of me publishing this hearing. You gotta let that sink in. And he already has women willing to take him in. He has a long life left to live where he will have access to prey. And the only thing keeping him away from that prey, you know, a probation officer can only do so much. And in 10 years, he won't be under supervision. The registry can only do so much. He's proven that he can get women to take him in. But what a repulsive, disgusting human. You know what's interesting is that on the spreadsheet for this hearing, See, I'm going through hearings that I haven't covered yet. And this is 10/21/2024. And you see, I just dated it, 6/15/2024. So normally there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You go down the list of all these different hearings. Normally Richard puts timestamps. So I know in the link where to go. But there's no timestamps. This is probably because Richard was ill at this time and he put it in, and this is before Holly joined. But so what I did is I go into the link and I scrolled through. I did a quick scroll on it's the full docket was 6 hours and 19 minutes. 6 hours and 19 minutes was. Sorry, I just pressed play. 6 hours and 19 minutes, and I scrolled through, and I picked him out by his looks. I said, "This is red," because red stands for Chomo. Red stands for Roach. And I picked him out, and I was right. He was a Chomo. And isn't that crazy that we, watching parole hearings, have developed an eye where we can actually point them out with a very high rate of success just by looking at them. And still a static 9-9 would consider him a low risk. I don't know. That's just crazy. You get what I'm saying? I had to find him in the 6 hours. And I didn't, instead of listening, normally Richard puts a timestamp. Instead of having to listen to each DOC number, I was able to visually pick him out. To admit, I did make one. There was a guy wearing the Chomo necklace, and I thought, okay, this must be him, because that. And interestingly enough, this was one of the few times where someone wearing a Chomo necklace. It was not. He did not have the dirty jacket. It happens. But yeah, this was the second try. Picked him out, and that was because the Chomo necklace guy showed up first on the scroll. So I had to check. You get what I'm saying? I had to stop my search and check. But once I rolled that out, I scrolled, found them. But there you go. There you have it. Monsters exist. This one will get paroled, but don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, Mandalorians. He's a low-risk 3FM because he knows that there are consequences.
And, this went on for a 6-year period of time with your own child. And I wonder, have you read the arrest warrant?
No, I never received the arrest warrant.
Okay. Well, I'd encourage you to pursue getting a copy of it for yourself, because the victim's accounts of the multiple times that you treated her. So the fact that you're serving for one sentence of illegal contact for a mere 3 years when this abuse went on for 6 is, I would say, remarkable.
Remarkable isn't the word that I'm thinking when I hear this. I'm thinking shocking. I'm thinking insane. I'm thinking injustice. How is it possible that a monster biological father who does it, as you heard, for all of those years, and for a DA to say, don't worry about it, you'll get a 3 years sentence. He was only sentenced October 5th of 2023, and his full term release date is 8/22 of 2026. And he's not a first-time offender. His jacket is loaded with crimes. Now, to add insult to injury, as if you needed any more of it, he ranks out a low risk on the static 9-9 risk assessment score. That's the risk assessment that nearly all 50 states in America use to determine the risk of a predator. Anyone who knows anything about this risk assessment knows that it's a joke, knows that it's a gimmick, yet still, all of these DOCs use it. But again, how can you have a judge, how can you have a DA say that this man's crimes, that this monster's vile acts, all it takes is 3 years in prison? Make it make sense. We're about to watch this monster's parole hearing, and he's as vile as it gets, which only underlines the fact that how in the world a judge, a DA, they agreed on 3 years. So with that, let's jump in.
Louis Astacio, 301-727.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Louis Astacio-colon 301727. He is serving a sentence of 15 years, execution suspended after 3 years, with 10 years of probation to follow for illegal sexual contact with a victim under the age of 16. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of February 22nd, 2025 at 50%. There is no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan. However, it has been reviewed and he has not completed any of his programs to date. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender overall score for the SRT falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Utilizing the static 99R, the offender overall score for sexual offense recidivism fall within the low to moderate range. Mr. Astacio-colon, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole, sir. You may begin.
I tried to do my programs and accomplish my programs before I came onto the board. They said I was on the waiting list. And then I was trying to get transferred to another facility where they could accommodate for me a little better because I got a huge hole on my foot that I'm trying to get taken care of. And I'm trying to learn, you know what I mean? I regret whatever happened. And I regret losing the relationship that I had with my daughters and everything when it came down to.
So, Mr. Cologne, exactly what is it that you have regretted to have happened?
The situation in general, completely everything.
Can you clarify that for me, please?
What I plead guilty was that I improperly touched one of my daughters, so I regret the situation.
So what do you think is the problem that you had, and what did you need to address that problem? What did you need to do?
I don't know, maybe get involved more in programs and stuff like that. Mental health.
So you have addiction services, sex offender treatment, voices, and anger management. And I have that you began the short-term sex offender program. Did you complete that program?
No,
Why not?
because I was trying to get transferred because I'm diabetic and I got a huge hole on my foot. And this jail couldn't accommodate for me for the situation that was happening to my foot. And I didn't want my foot to get cut off, so I was trying to get transferred to another facility where they could accommodate for me a little better.
And has that happened?
It's a waiting list for everything that you do in this facility.
Did you make any attempts to get back in the program?
Can I make an attempt to get back in the program?
Yes. Did you make any attempts to get back in the program, the sex offender program?
No.
So, Mr. Cologne, the problem is, you were charged with, illegal sexual contact of the victim who was under the age of 16 years old. In order for me to consider that you are appropriate to be released back in the community, you would need to address by participating in a sex offender program. In your opening statement, you never express any remorse for the victim or the victim's family. And you also have the Voices program, which address the impact of the victim or victims. And you also had anger management, which is an issue that was identified for you. And I have to tell you, Mr. Astacio-colon, you have not done well on previous community releases, and you have an extensive criminal history. You have 13 felony convictions, okay? And so I can ask you other questions, but knowing that you haven't completed any of your programs, okay, and you're still waiting to address your medical issues per se, that hasn't been addressed as of today. And I don't know what efforts you have made to complete the sex offender program. So the one thing that I'm going to ask you about is the actual offense that you have denied. So can you tell me why you think you didn't do it, and why this young woman would say that you did some inappropriate things to her?
I don't know why. And like I said, I'm on a waiting list, so I'm on a waiting list for all the programs and everything, so I really can't do nothing when it comes down to the program part of it, for the Voices and the anger management. I wrote request forms and everything, so I could join back to get back into those programs, but they never let me get into those programs.
So again, I'm going to say to you, you said you did not commit the offense, but had to plead guilty because you would have received more time, and you don't think your sentence was fair. So I'm going to ask you again, why do you think the victim would say you did this to her when you are denied?
I can't speak on her behalf.
But I'm asking you.
I don't know. Why would they say that?
Why do you think that you're appropriate today to go out on parole?
And here is a whole different experience. Being in a wheelchair, being in here. I'm willing to do the programs. I'm just waiting to get involved into the programs. And the mental health one, I was trying to get transferred to another facility because I got a hole in my foot. I didn't, that's why I said I'll take it, but I need to get that taken care of.
So what you're saying is that you don't think you're ready to go out on parole today.
I wouldn't be saying that.
But what are you saying?
I think I'm ready to go home on parole.
Tell me why you're ready.
Because it's a whole nother experience being in here in a wheelchair. Is a lot of things that you got to get used to, and then I tried my hardest to get into the programs. I haven't got no tickets. I've been staying out of trouble and everything.
Well, that's the one good thing that I can say, Mr. Astacio-colon, is that you have not received any ticket. My concern is you are accused of a serious charge over a number of years, and you're denying it, and you haven't completed any programs, and you really have not been able to tell me why you think you're suitable to go out on discretionary parole today. So for me, Mr. Astacio-colon, I personally don't feel that you're appropriate to go out on discretionary parole because you have not addressed any of your criminogenic needs. You have not addressed any other sex offender problem that you don't seem to think you have, but based on the crime, you do have that need to complete the program. And I think I've asked you why you feel that you're appropriate, but I don't think that you have been able to express that. And again, because you haven't done any programs, I don't think you're suitable today. But I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues to see if they have questions to ask you that may elicit an appropriate response. Ms. Turner?
Sir, you have 2 standing criminal protective orders against you until the year 2099. Can you tell me what you understand that means?
Can't go near or talk to or have any contact with the victims of the crime.
And that includes social media, anything electronic, messaging? You can't do any of that?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've been referring to going home, but you actually don't have a sponsor that you're planning to go to. You need a halfway house?
I was trying to see if I had either a halfway house or see if I could enroll into hospital for special care, because I do have like a lot of pressure wounds that are coming up on my legs, and I needed to get my range of motion back together and stuff like that. So for my health, I would like to see either a halfway house or hospital for special care that's in New Britain to see if they could help me get my mobility back.
And you're looking to get SSDI reinstated?
Yeah, SSI.
You do understand that you can work part-time on that when you get that benefit?
If that's something that I could do, I would be willing to do too.
Yeah, you should pursue through some of the reentry programs, or even a temp agency can probably find work for someone with your skill set. You mentioned to my colleague that you pled guilty for improperly touching one of your daughters.
Yeah.
So you admit that you did improperly touch your child?
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand why you did that?
No, I wouldn't understand. I don't understand why.
Okay. So that's what we mean by you really need programs. Because let me finish. If you don't understand why you did it, then you're not in a position to prevent yourself from doing it again. And, you know, this went on for a 6-year period of time with your own child. And I wonder, have you read the arrest warrant?
No, I never received the arrest warrant.
Okay. Well, I'd encourage you to pursue getting a copy of it for yourself, because the victim's accounts of the multiple times that you violated her or abused her for not allowing you to touch her sexually are very credible for such a young person, and her recall of the locations and the age she was at and what you did to her has a lot of credibility to it. And it's extremely concerning to me that with your physical needs, that a child of her age and gender would be put in the position of providing any physical care for you in the home is a bit shocking. It's far more appropriate for a home health aide to be coming in, or a visiting nurse, than to expect your 8-year-old daughter to help you bathe. That's just not appropriate. It's poor boundaries. And your willingness to, physically assault her for resisting you because she was uncomfortable and didn't want you touching her is really concerning. So I think you have a lot of work still to do to understand what was going on for you at the time and what you need to work on so that you can be out in society around children and not reoffend. You were charged with 7 counts of illegal sexual contact and 5 counts of sexual assault in the 4th degree. So the fact that you're serving for 1 sentence of illegal sexual contact for a mere 3 years when this abuse went on for 6 is, I would say, remarkable. And I hope you will take very seriously your own rehabilitation, sir. And there's no reason you couldn't have stayed in the short track program while you're there in the facility awaiting a transfer, but you chose to remove yourself from even the basic program they were offering you to help yourself. Very concerning. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Mr. Sezostis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I don't have any questions.
Okay, so Mr. Astacio-colon, we are going to deliberate on the record. You can listen but not say anything. So, Mr. Cologne has not completed any programs to address any of the sex offender issues that he has. He was actually in the short-term program, but made a decision to discontinue so that he could address his medical need, which as of today still has not been addressed.
And I would add, Madam Chair, that he was in the program for less than 2 months.
Okay. And felt that his medical needs were more important. And so that was his decision. And based on the, at first, and I appreciate you, Ms. Turner, for getting him to admit that he actually did admit to improperly touching his child. Because when I asked him what he regretted that was happened, what had happened, he was unable to say that. He was very concerned that he had to plead guilty for something that he didn't do, but he did it so that he would not receive any more time that he did not feel his sentence was fair, never focused at any point on the actually offense that was committed. So for me, I do not feel he's appropriate because he really needs to take the short-term sex offender program. He did not express any remorse for the victim. He needs to do the voices and he needs to do anger management because he was verbally and physically abusing his 8-year-old daughter for 6 years. And so I have him denied. And my reasons are the nature, inadequate institution program participation, and evidence of offender change. If you have anything else to add.
I agree. He scores high for his risk to reoffend. As you pointed out, he has 13 felonies in his criminal history. He's failed 4 out of 5 attempts at community supervision. And in fact, the last time that he was out on parole, he had one technical violation and one criminal violation during that time. I actually think he needs domestic violence because he was abusive to the mother of his children in the context of continuing to violate his own daughter. So, you know, I came in here with a denial, but I was open to a rehear. I don't find Mr. Astacio-colon actually motivated. He's very much, you know, the center of his own world and doesn't seem to appreciate the need for his rehabilitation. So I'm fine with those reasons as you stated.
Agreed.
Mrs. Thompson?
I agree. That's bad.
Yeah. So, Louis Astacio-colon, inmate number 301727. There is a motion to deny discretionary parole for these reasons. Nature and circumstances of the current offense, inadequate institutional program participation, and no evidence of offender change.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion granted. Mr. Astacio-colon, we wish you the best of luck, and we hope that you will take our recommendation to complete the programs with the addition of the domestic violence. So we wish you the best of luck.
This hearing is concluded for Louis Astacio-colon, 301727. Mr. Cologne, you're all set. You'll receive all this in writing. Good luck to you.
And you heard correctly, right? In his jacket, 13 felonies, 5 failed parole attempts, and the DA and the judge, they still agree on 3 years. Now, I don't have the information in the packet. This hearing happened on 12/30/2024. This was a time that Sir Richard really was having difficulty, but also they don't, for whatever reason, sometimes Connecticut doesn't show crimes that happened before the 10-year period. So I actually don't have the list of how long, these crimes, what they were. But the idea that he is an habitual offender in Louisiana, it's like, 3 felonies and we'll throw it. But I mean, I want to sit across the room, and we're going to watch another parole hearing after this. But I want to sit across the room from the sentencing judge, from the DA, and just ask them why. Why? Why do you not throw away the key? Why do you not hit him? Like, I don't know, maybe they don't have the habitual offender in Connecticut. They probably don't. We've never seen it. Now that I come to think about it. But really? Like, really? This is the best you can do? What a disgusting. Giving him more. Some people are just broken. It's nice the parole board denied. We're not. He's still in prison. Again, this hearing happened 12/30/2024. His full term date is 8/22/2026. They gave him a 3-year sentence. Now, technically, the way that it's written is that they gave him a 15-year sentence, all suspended, but 3, and probation 10 years. And I wonder if he only needs to register for 10 years, because we oftentimes see that when it's probation for 10 years. And is a low risk to reoffend, of course. So the static 99 always makes perfect sense. But I wonder how many years he has in suspended sentences, which also never makes sense, right? If he has a total of 13 felonies and 5 failed attempts on probation parole, how much time was he backing? Because surely those sentences had suspended sentences baked in, had like special parole baked in or something like that, right? But that's part of the gimmick. That's what we have seen. This is not a conspiracy. This is not me just, this is not just rhetoric. We see this all the time, and I really need to begin calling it out more. But we'll see someone that can have 10 sentences with a combined 50 years in suspended sentences, but when they get arrested for a new felony offense, the DAs never say, okay, you're going to go serve the time you owe. Instead, they make these plea deals. And it's like those suspended sentences never existed. Where am I wrong on this? I just don't understand it. Make it make sense. You can't, though. You really can't. There are sickos that are in charge of protecting us. We know that sickos exist in the world, but there are sickos or lazy people that just don't care, put in charge of protecting us. Now, let's jump into the next hearing.
Good morning. My name is Alberto Martinez, MA number 438328.
This hearing is being conducted in consideration of the parole application for Alberto Martinez. 438328, he is serving a sentence of 12 years, execution suspended after 3.5 years, with 3 years probation to follow for attempted assault first, criminal possession of a firearm, ammo, defense weapon. As of today, records reflect a parole eligibility date of October 25, 2024 at 85%. There's no victim input in this case. There is an offender accountability plan, and it has been reviewed and showed he has only completed the SRG program to date. Utilizing the statewide collaborative offender risk evaluation system, the offender overall score for the SRT falls within the high range of risk for recidivism. Mr. Martinez, this is your opportunity to express to the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin, sir.
All right. I want to take this time to thank Parole for giving me this opportunity to speak on my behalf. I want to start by saying that I'm coming home with a plan. I've utilized this time to prepare myself mentally for a better future. I realized I needed change in my surrounding and all of the negativity in my life. I have a strong family and friend support system that's helping me and guiding me in the right path. I plan goals and dreams that I pray to accomplish as soon as I have my freedom. I also completed the SRG program. I made a mistake that put me in a place and situation that I benefited in a lot of ways, from learning how to deal with my emotions to taking better decisions. I also learned how to control my anger and how to avoid all people, places, and things that triggered me. All my life, I committed mistakes to try and fit in with people that didn't have my best interests. Being incarcerated has taught me that family is all we got. I have to value and appreciate them because life is too short. I also been thinking of what I did, and even if I thought at the moment I was protecting my friends and innocent people, I'm no cop or superhero to think what I did was right. I was reckless, and I could have hurt and killed someone. I deserve these 3 years I've been incarcerated. Next time I find myself in a situation, I will get in the car and leave and call the police. Parole means so much to me. It's an opportunity for me to ease back into society, keeping me in the right track with programs, trucking school, and attending church services, accepting all the help I may need. I will be grateful if you grant me this opportunity to be eligible for parole. I will utilize it to better myself as I learn to accept my mistakes and won't commit them again. Thank you for your time and giving me this opportunity to speak.
So, Mr. Martinez, we appreciate that you took the time out to prepare the comments that you just made. And I just want as a comment to say that I don't think there are mistakes that you made. I think there are poor choices and poor decision making.
Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to take turns to ask you questions today. And at the end of the questions, we're going to deliberate on the record and let you know what our decision is, okay? And we're going to begin today's questions with Mr. Sadowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So good job on your opening statement. You answered some of the questions that I had. So I appreciate you writing that down and taking the time to put that together. I read through the police reports about this incident. You know, one thing I was trying to understand was what this argument with this gentleman was about. How did it start inside?
It was in all reality, it was all a misunderstanding, and it was just a fight that broke out and went bad. As I don't know if you guys reviewed the video from inside. It was a fight that happened inside the bar. I tried to run out to go to my car. As I was going to my car, this gentleman put 2 guns in my face, and he decided to walk off for some reason. I got in the car, then I heard gunshots, and like Miss said, I took a poorly decision upon myself to retaliate when I should have just at that moment hop in the car and leave.
Okay, so this was like early in the morning hours, right? You guys were at the bar or at the nightclub, and it was involved drinking?
Yes.
Did you know that some of the bullets and have you read the reports and some of the people that were, some of the bullets went through a car where there was a child in a car seat? Do you know about that?
Yes.
And then some of the other bullets went through a McDonald's play area where thankfully at that time of night there was no one at, but you did mention that you're lucky that no one got killed. I think it's just by the grace of God, you know, by what you guys are describing, this chaotic incident, that one of the two of you didn't kill someone.
Yes.
Because it sounds like people were running in different directions and it was just a Wild West scene, you know. And I don't know how, but somehow you guys didn't hit anybody, you know. It's just pure luck, probably. So it's very serious. We take these kinds of things serious. I appreciate your honesty and you recognizing the mistakes that you made in court. It's like my colleague said. You were on probation when this happened. And as part of your probation conditions, you were not supposed to be driving a car and weren't supposed to be carrying guns or committing crime or anything like that.
Yes,
Did
sir.
you know that you weren't supposed to be driving a car? Did you have a driver's license?
No, sir, I did not.
So just a lot of things that went wrong here.
Yes, a lot of that. That's why I consider myself as making a lot of poorly mistakes that I made, because there was things that I was doing that I should have never been doing. So that's why I accept me taking this time being incarcerated, because being incarcerated taught me that life is really short. And I've seen other people getting 30 years, 40 years and they will never get their life back.
Yeah, and
So I had to learn the hard way, and you know, I deserve this. Like, there's no excuses. I deserve this time to be incarcerated.
3.5 years for this is actually not a long time. I mean, we see people with gun cases which much longer incarcerations, and I can tell you that if you got another gun case, it's not going to be 3.5 years the next time. You know what I mean? You're gonna get stunned a little bit if you get another one. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, there were a lot of different things that took place that this could have been prevented. First of all, you weren't supposed to be driving a car, right? If you weren't doing that, this doesn't happen. You were carrying a gun, you weren't supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? It's just a lot of things that all culminated, bad decisions that led to this whole situation. Can you just talk a little bit more about how you changed since the time that incident happened until now? How do you feel different as a person? You know,
I feel different as a person because I learned to stay away from situations, because being here incarcerated, it's a lot of forms of getting myself into disciplinary situations, which I also had to learn the hard way too. I got into one fight, and one fight caused me to put into SRG over things that I wrote on a piece of book. You know, like, it's just different things that I had to learn to be disciplined, so that I could prepare myself mentally. So when I get outside, I can actually see and learn that it's not always good to react soon as something happens, I have to think before I do things, you know? Think about everybody else, think about the damage I could cause, think about the life of somebody. Like just one little fight in here could cause somebody's life. Doesn't have to be just with a weapon. Because I've done seen it already multiple times where people get hurt just by one little fight. So, you know, I feel like my situation here also learned me how to have patience, how to deal with multiple emotions from different people with different mental health issues. I had to be in a cell with somebody who has anxiety, who's schizophrenic, and I had to learn how to talk to them and speak to them as like if I was a mentor, you know, like because I knew that wasn't there in like on their mind, so I had to make them feel comfortable so we could have a nice bond in the cell. You
Yeah,
know, like,
those are important things to learn because when you get out, at some point you're going to get out, and you may have family, friends, coworkers, other people that, and you have to be able to deal with them in a healthy way, you know, and make good decisions. So I'm glad to hear that you're learning to make better decisions. I am concerned about that fight that you had, just because, you know, this incident that we're talking about, it started from a fight. You know what I mean? So now you get incarcerated and then there's similar behavior. It's concerning. That was, you know, over a year ago, it looks like. So you haven't had any fights since then. So I'm hoping that you learn from that. You know what I mean? You have to find ways to avoid these situations, whether you're incarcerated or out.
yes, I definitely did. And when that situation happened and I was put in segregation,
Yeah.
I actually thought about that. And it's good that you mentioned it because I did. I actually did think about that. And I was thinking to myself, like, why? Like, I feel like it did repeat itself, you know, because I made a decision that didn't benefit me, but put me in a deeper situation where it's like I spoke to myself multiple times. And I'm like, what am I gonna do? Like, well, how can I change? You know, like so. That's when in segregation, a CO came to me and told me, I hear you talking to yourself saying that you want to change. Here's the Bible. Start with that. So I'm not gonna lie, after then, I started reading the Bible. I didn't really understand it until he came checking on me daily and try to explain to me that you're not supposed to read the Bible as if the Bible is a book. You're supposed to read and find the scripture that best fits you in the situation that you're going through. So I started learning how to read the Bible, and I learned a lot on how to self-control, how to be wisdom, how to just deal with people in general in different situations. It taught me a lot in different ways, how to control myself before I gotta love myself before anything, you know. If I can't love myself, how can I love others? You know, so it's a lot that I learned in here, you know, and it's coming deep because I was never this person. You would have asked me this question 3 years ago, I would have probably laughed at you and walked away. I'd be like, man, I don't need none of that. I was young. I didn't know any better. You know, that's why I say I really did need this time incarcerated to learn, because not a lot of people go through situations like this. I never been through this situation. So this is something that I needed to wake me up so I could be a better man, and realize that the streets will never take me anywhere but jail or death. I really needed this.
I appreciate that. And that you found, you know, the Bible to help you cope and deal with some of the struggles that you're having. So that's good. I read the DOC gave you a drug and alcohol score of a 4.
Yes.
Did you know that? Okay, 5 is the highest that you can have. So 4 is very high, you know?
Yes, and I'm sorry. The reason why I had that because I wanted to do the Tier 4 program.
Yeah.
Because I also wanted to prepare myself not to do drugs because I've been watching a lot of news. Too many people are dying over fentanyl, over drugs, and you never know. I was doing heavy drugs back then and drinking,
Yeah.
I don't want to do none of that stuff. I don't want to be on the news talking about this Martinez passed away from overdose or you know, it's scary.
Yeah, and I mean, not just drugs. I mean, you said that you were drinking on a night that this happened, you know, maybe things would be
Yes.
different if you weren't drinking, you understand? Sometimes we make bad decisions, you're not thinking clearly. So that's a concern for me because you haven't taken the Tier 4 program or any kind of addiction services, probably because of some of your other disciplinary reports and things. They kind of get in the way sometimes of you getting programs, and you were taking care of the SRG stuff, so you were pretty busy doing that. But what's your plan? I mean, have you gone to any NA or AA meetings in the facility? What's your plan to stay sober when you get out?
I'm if parole grants me, I would like to keep doing programs. I would really love to keep doing programs. Like I want to take anger management. I will take drug programs all over. I don't care how many programs I take, as long as it's helping me with myself. When I get out of incarcerated, I will take them all. I'm planning on, my brother has a towing company that he has. I'm planning on going to trucking school in that in Bridgeport, so I could try to work on my license and work on being able to help my brother out build his business.
Yeah.
So that's one of my plans. My second plan is to, while I'm working on that, I have a friend that works at Eastern Metalworks in Woodmont Ave in Milford.
Huh?
I used to work there before, and I spoke to him on the phone, and he told me that if I come home, not to worry, that he's gonna try to get me back in. So that's one of my goals too. So other than that, go to church every day, try to keep myself positive, stay out New Haven. I don't want to be in the area of New Haven at all.
Okay.
I'm trying to stay away from New Haven as much as possible. I'm trying to seek all the help I could get. After parole, if my parole is done, if I get granted, I will sign up to try to get housing, to try to, you know, do anything I can to keep me away from the streets again. I don't care if I have to go to one of those places that they'll find you jobs for a temporary job. I don't care if I work at a Dunkin' Donuts. I'm just trying to do my best to stay out the streets, and that's what my main mind is focused on.
Okay. Well, I'm glad to hear you saying all these things, because that's what you should be doing, is preparing yourself, right? Regardless of what happens today, you're getting out soon, you know, and you're gonna, if it's not parole, it's gonna be probation, and it's gonna be similar, you know. So you're gonna have rules and things to follow, and you need to be ready for that, so you don't end up back in here. So all those things that you're saying about being willing to go to programming and be open to housing, whatever you have to do to stay positive and be a productive member of society. Those are all the things that you should be thinking about and getting ready. But in the next couple of months, one way or another, right? One way or another, you're getting out. I mean, this is coming to an end, so you need to be ready so you don't come back, you know?
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to talk to you about, you were talking about your release plan and where you want to work and the places that you want to avoid. But I read about where you were living before the incarceration, and it kind of sounded like you were going back and forth between houses and between people's places in Meriden, New Haven, things like that.
Yes, because at that moment, I had lost my job because of COVID. So it was like I didn't have a job. I was getting unemployment, so I didn't really have enough money to pay for a house. So that I can't live with my mother because of the fact that my mother has Section 8.
Yeah.
So I wasn't on these, so I wasn't trying to put her in a predicament either. So I will sometimes spend the night at her house, and then I will spend the night at a friend's house, which is the one I'm trying to parole. She's a real close friend of mine since I was a kid. She's been there for me. She's helped me out in a lot. She always tells me if I ever need help or if I ever need somewhere to stay at or anything, to always go to her house, that her doors is always open for me. So that's why I kept going from Meriden to New Haven, Meriden to New Haven, because this person's been helping me, you know? And
yeah. But so my concern is that, it was an unstable situation in the past. So having unstable housing is one of the factors that could lead to this chaotic situation. You know what I'm saying? You need to have a stable life and a stable situation, a job, place to go to at night. But you were living with the same friend in Meriden, part-time, on and off before. So how will it be stable now? And it wasn't stable before with her.
Oh, the reason why I'll be stable now is because I know she's gonna help me in everything because of the poor decision that I made before. And she never let me down before, and I know she will not let me down now.
But I mean, you have to accept the help though, too. Do you understand?
Yeah,
Because she was trying to
yes.
help you before, right? She was trying to help you.
Yes, but it you know, like I said before, I was young. I didn't know any better. All I wanted to do was like be out. I wasn't really focused on bettering myself. I just thought I had everything right there, that I was okay. I'll get another job sooner or later. But now that's why I accept the fact that I needed to be this incarceration taught me a lot, you know? So
Yeah.
that's why I know she's gonna be there and help me out until I get better. And I have my brother's support too. So my brother's gonna help me get working with him in a towing company, helping him out. Even if I have to be passenger seat, I know he's gonna teach me the basics on what I have to do. So when I go trucking, I could be more motivated into getting my license so I could work with. And I'm motivated. I really wanna do this.
Okay.
Something I want to do. I've been thinking about it throughout a whole year already.
All right, thank you very much. So I just had one other thing I wanted to talk about. I'm going to pass it along to my colleagues after that. Is that you were on probation when this incident happened. You were on probation because you had been involved in a car accident. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So as part of that probation, you were ordered to pay restitution. It was like $3,150. Do you recall that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So at your sentencing for this offense, the judge rolled over all the conditions from the probation into this. Do you understand that money doesn't go away? Have you paid that?
Well, my lawyer told me that I didn't have to pay the money no more. I don't know.
Well, take it up with your lawyer. It does say that those conditions rolled over into this, but you can figure it out with your lawyer. I was just wondering if you had ever paid that, or if that you never paid that $3,000.
They told me, well, that's what the lawyer had told me, but if it has to get paid, listen, I got responsibilities come first and priorities always come first.
Right.
I will pay it.
Well, you can sort of after they'll approach you, I'm sure, if you owe money.
Yes.
So, okay, sir, thank you for talking to me. I'm going to pass on to my colleagues, and they can ask their questions, Madam Chair.
Yes. So, Mr. Martinez, during the interview with the parole officer, you said you've never been a member of a gang.
Yes.
Like you said, by DOC standards, you are identified as a member of the Latin King gang.
Yes.
Now, I'm looking at your ticket. So the ticket that you talked about the most was a fighting ticket that you received in May of 2023. But the same month, you also had an SRG ticket. And then in September, you had another SRG ticket. And then in October of last year, you had another SRG ticket.
Yes, ma'am.
So are you telling us the truth, or
No, I'm
were
telling you.
you a member of the gang? And why is it that on 3 different occasions you are identified as a member of the Latin King?
Right. So at first, the things that I wrote down on a piece of book that caused me to get the SRG ticket, which was the first one. The second one, I was avoiding a situation that I was told to do, and I never wanted to do. So on the ticket, it clearly says that I didn't want to be part of it, that I was trying to finish my SRG time and go home. So that part of that ticket, that's what explains. But they gave me a ticket as a politics because they said that either way, it was politicking with other SRG members. It was about the Latin King. So even if I was denying to be part of it or to do anything that was part of the Latin Kings, they still charged me as a politic ticket. So I was like, okay. And then the third ticket, it was an old paper that I had in my property that I thought that they took and they never did. So when they found it, I asked the CEO, I was like, how did you find that if that's that piece of paper? I had already got a ticket for that piece of paper. And he explained to me that it was on my bed when that day I switched from one cell to the other. And I dumped my property on my bed because I was going through my sentence modification paper that I already had tried to file. But I couldn't file because the situation with the ticket caused me to go to the segregation. So I had to wait a whole year to refile again.
So which of the SRG ticket did the CO give you the Bible?
The third one? The
Last
third one?
October?
Hold on, you said, hold on.
Last October.
Yes, you said that was the SRG, that it was they call it as the Holy Bible. And that right there was, yes, that was something that it was already in my property in the past and it was found again. So I told him I took it and it put me on phase one, which I had to start.
I heard you, Mr. Martinez. I understand what you said.
Yeah.
Some of it does not make any sense, but that's what you're saying. Now, you told my colleague that you were doing heavy drugs and drinking.
Yes.
When the incident occurred, you said you were drinking Hennessy and beers.
Yes.
And then you said you discharged the firearm because you were defending your friends. Would any of these friends belong to that gang?
No, ma'am. It was nothing but females around me. I was with a female that night and I was with no guys. I was just trying to defend my two friends, which is one of them was a female accomplice and the other
one
female
that was picking up the bullets.
Yes, ma'am.
That you had fired.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what were the heavy drugs that you were doing?
At that moment, around that time, I was doing ecstasy and coke.
That's new.
That's why I filed for tier 4. Because I do not want to relapse and go back to those drugs.
But during the interview, all they came up with was the alcohol.
Yes.
So let me see if I get this right. You were on probation. You didn't have a legitimate job. You were smoking and selling drugs. You had a gun. And it's obviously that you were hanging out in the wrong places. Does that sound about right?
Yes, ma'am.
So everything that you were doing was all wrong.
It's all wrong. Everything.
Right.
From waking up to the morning.
There, yes, and you're sitting here today. You've only completed the SRG programs because you've received 3 SRG tickets and a 4th one for fighting. You say you have a problem with alcohol and ecstasy and cocaine, and you haven't completed a tier program.
The reason.
So you understand from where I'm sitting today.
Yes.
That it doesn't seem like you're ready to go out on parole. Think about it.
Listen, I know I'm ready and I understand your point of view. I'm not denying what you see and what you feel. I respect you to the fullest and I understand what you're telling me. But me personally, I think I'm ready. Because I could have been catching a lot more tickets. I could have been catching Pruno tickets for making alcohol in jail. I could have been catching tickets for drugs that other people catch while they were incarcerated. I could have been catching tickets for more fights. I could have been catching tickets for assaulting a DOC officer. I could have been catching multiple tickets on different occasions. But no, I learned how to control myself, and I learned how to fight my mental health thoughts, and I learned how to realize that things that I did in the past is what caused me in the situation that I am now.
So
I-
you're saying you also had mental health issues, because you just said you fought your mental health thoughts.
Yeah,
What does that
like
mean?
that's when you have I was easily triggered in the past. That's the reason why I ended up in jail. If I would have thought about what I did before I shot at that situation, I would have never been in this mess. I had to think, now I got to think before I do things. I got to think about who I'm putting in harm. I got to think about people, victims, and innocent people in their family. I have to think about my family. I have to think about a lot. It's a lot that I could lose, and it's a lot that I could take away if I keep walking the path that I was walking before.
So, Mr. Martinez, what I can tell you is that, you have done well in not receiving any more disciplinary reports in the last year and 2 months. And that's positive. So you can continue on the positive path that you have there. There's not much time between today and when you're actually eligible to complete the 3.5 years. Okay, so I wish you the best of luck. Ms. Turner?
So, Mr. Martinez, you've been sentenced to the state's deadly weapon offender registry. Do you understand that obligation?
Yes, I do.
Okay, 5 years. When you go out, you have 7.5 years of this sentence hanging over your head because you got a sentence modification. You already got 6 months taken off the time you had to serve.
Right.
Yes, I do.
I have no idea what basis they used to reduce your sentence when you're out there on probation, discharging a firearm at other human beings. You were on probation 1 month, less than 1 month when you got this new case. Less than 1 month. So you need to understand, sir, that what we're doing today is making a decision about whether you're suitable to finish your sentence, the 3.5 years, out in the community under supervision. And we have to make that decision in light of the interest of public safety. You're telling us that you were under the influence. You've done nothing to address that while you've been incarcerated. You told my colleague that the basis of the argument was a misunderstanding, and it led to gunfire out in the streets of our community. So you really need to take an anger management class. I know they addressed that in SRG, but you need to ask them for anger management before you're discharged in October. I will not be voting for you to go out early on this sentence. It's just too damn serious, sir. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, so we're all set, Mr. Martinez. We're going to deliberate on the record. You can listen but not say anything. Okay, so Mr. Sadowski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Mr. Martinez has been doing well over the last year. I think he's on the right path, headed in the right direction. And he's glad to hear that he recognized the bad decisions that he made, and that he seems remorseful for what happened, and regret that he made poor decisions. So I am glad to hear that he is heading in the right direction, because at some point he is going to be released and out in the community. However, he does rate high for risk to recidivate. As both of you have mentioned, he has not taken up programs to address either his addiction or his anger issues. He has a 4 out of 5 for a DOC drug score, and he hasn't done anything.
And if you'll notice, in Mr. Sosowskis, that in the interview with the parole officer, he completely downplayed any substance use. He didn't even mention the marijuana until later on in the interview, and not in the context of substance abuse. And he's done no treatment out in the community in the past.
So, and then we just add in these SRG tickets and also the fighting ticket. It's just, this whole picture does not sit well, and it would really be negligent for me as far as community safety to find him suitable to be released into the community today to serve the rest of his sentence. Does not have much time left, so I would encourage him to please get these programs in and try to continue on the path that he's on. So that way, when he does go on probation, he can succeed and not end up back here like after 1 month, like the last time. So
I'm struggling a bit with, he wants programs when he's out in the community. And he's sitting here telling us he believes he's completely ready for release.
Right, and I told him he wasn't and why, that he needed the management and the peer program. And so I agree with what you said, Mrs. Dauskas, and I am not in favor of early release either.
Just too serious.
and I don't want to discourage him, and I want him to stay on a positive path. I understand this is difficult to hear on his behalf, but does need more work. And so the reasons I had were the inadequate program participation, the poor institutional adjustment because of all the tickets. He was on probation when this all happened. I mean, we could add other stuff.
Nature and
Nature and
circumstances. I think, are critical.
circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's 4.
Yes.
Okay, nature on probation, inadequate programming, no evidence of offender change and for institutional adjustment.
Well, I think that Mr. Sazowskis is really promoting that he's hearing change. So
Yes.
perhaps we would just say inadequate program participation without the evidence of offender.
Okay.
Yeah, I do hear some change starting to happen in him, and I want him to continue on that path because he is going to be out, and it serves the public, no good for him to not have been rehabilitated. I would like him to continue to do what he's doing and get the programs, and then come out and do what he's saying he's going to do when he gets out.
In the case of Alberto L Martinez, inmate number 438328, there is a motion to deny discretionary parole for these reasons. Nature and circumstances of a current offense committed while on probation, inadequate institutional program participation, and poor institutional adjustment. Do I have a second?
Second,
All those in favor?
I
Motion granted. So, Mr. Martinez, we hope you will continue and take the programs that we recommend, and we wish you the best of luck on probation.
This concludes the hearing for Alberto Martinez, 438. Mr. Martinez, you'll receive all this in writing, okay? You're all set. Thank you, have a good day.
Okay, did you pick up on that death stare at the end? That was a heck of a death. What did he really expect? Holy cow! When you put things into perspective, and I'll go over this footage again. Thank you, Sir Richard, for finding it and point out who he was in the situation. And gosh, oh, your co-defendant, the girl you were with who was picking up your shell casings. I mean, that's like a new line, Well, but my boo is so loyal. She picks up the shell casings as I'm firing it. I mean, can you just think about that for a second? You're in the middle of a shootout, and you actually somehow have the wherewithal, or the mindset, I should say, to pick up your boy's shell casings. Wow! I mean, what you get what I'm saying? How can that be where your brain goes in the middle of a shootout? Let me go pick up the evidence for my boo over here. And it's remarkable because, and Ms. Turner points it out, just the insanity of it. In what world does the DA give you a 6 months off of your already putrid sentence? And this goes into exactly what I was saying about the time that he owed them. He could be in prison longer because of the time that he owed them. Thank you, sir. Let me just share with you, this is the record Sir Richard has. So he has 6/11/27. Before we go over it, right? We'll go over this. So he gets 1 year jail suspended. 1 year jail suspended. Here he doesn't get anything. Then he has resisting arrest. He gets 1 year jail suspended, probation 2 years. Where he violated, of course. Arrested on 12/25/2019, evading and risk of injury, 1 year suspended. But here's the big one, okay? And this is not the shooting offense. So he has attempted to commit assault, first degree. This is 10/10/21. He's sentenced to 12 years jail. Wait a minute. No. So okay. So here it is. So this actually is this current sentence. He's sentenced to 12 years jail, suspended after 4 years probation, 3, and then they modified it. Now, did he, what do you do afterwards? This is what she was talking about, to get that modification. After he's already sentenced, they modify it to 12 years, suspended after 42 months, probation, 3 years. And if you add up, I guess he doesn't really have a really long sentence until then. He has 1 year probation, 2 years, 1 year suspended, 1 year suspended. Okay, so I guess I was wrong there, that it didn't add up to more time. But that's neither here nor there. How does he get the sweetheart deal? Now let's go look at the footage again, so you can see how insane this is. So that's this dude's over here. I think that's him. Now this guy comes out with a gun, and he's like yelling around. He's 2 guns, 1 in each hand. You see in the left, right there, and 2 guns. He's like, "Yo, chill." I don't know. Like, do they just have guns pointed at them every themselves every like day? Like, you could just take it so coolly. Now he goes into this car. Doesn't it look like these are gunshot holes everywhere? Right? He goes and gets his. Meanwhile, right, he's on probation. 1 month he's out on probation. Who's driving with the? And then he comes out. That's his girl, I guess. Look what she does. You'll see. Now they're shooting. She actually grabs his wrist. Did you see that? Oh, no. Commercial. Did you see how she grabs his wrist there? And they're like, how do you not hit anyone? Well, maybe they don't hit anyone because they just all suck at shooting. Also, if you have your girl grabbing your wrist. But, I mean, it's just insane. I mean, can you imagine? I can't imagine having a gun, 2 guns pointed at me like this, and then everyone's acting like in there. It seemed like everyone's just acting like it was happening any day, and there's no excuse like to give a short sentence. It's not. You don't have self defense. He got in the car. None of it. He's a convicted felon on probation with a firearm, shooting it. Like a jury wouldn't care that there was another man a second ago pointing guns at him. I just even if you were a law-abiding citizen with a permit to carry, I think that you'd probably be facing some type of scrutiny if you had gone in your car and the guy was now across the way and you got out and shot. Now I get it. There's still context there, and maybe it depends on the state, and you're allowed to protect yourself and others, and depending on what the person's doing, if he's an active shooter, I get all of that. But if he had come and robbed you and was running away, most states couldn't just go there. Oh man. But he's going to be getting out regardless, no matter what, right? Here it is in the spreadsheet. He's already out. Sorry. I'm recording this 7/20/2025. He was released 5/4/2025. Let me just search the database. He is still out. He's not in. And I wonder how long that's going to possibly last. I mean, let's be real. He's saying, "Oh, I'm not in the gang," but yet he has all these SRT write-ups, which are gang-affiliated write-ups. I don't buy it. I don't buy any of it. It's this is just why it's like it's insane that the system would not take someone who's clearly a danger, who doesn't take his own life seriously, other people's lives seriously. The idea that he's out a month after into his like probation with the gun shooting at people. This is someone who is so dangerous. To release him after just a few years in prison is insane. And you hear this from others who have spent long certain. Oh, I never got. I've seen this. I've maybe seen it too. They'll blame the system when they catch a life sentence. I should have gotten a 10-year sentence. I kept getting these little sentences. I never knew what to take it serious. And this guy would have that argument. He should have gotten a 10-year. He needs to grow up and mature out of this, because going right back in the what do you think is going to happen? This is predictable. It doesn't help anybody giving a little sentence. How do you get the modification? It makes you wonder. Well, there you have it. We'll keep track. If he does somehow make it back to us, we'll be in the return of playlist. But I don't think so. He's not on special parole, so he's just gonna. It'll just be a new crime. I should Google search him one last time before I check the database. Well, let's Google search him. Because again, wouldn't surprise me. This. This is funny. The first thing that pops up is someone with the same name who killed someone in a DUI crash, but it's not the same person, because that happened in January. So, anyways, with that, I'll let you go.
When you go out, you have 7.5 years of this sentence hanging over your head because you got a sentence modification. You already got 6 months taken off the time you had to serve.
Right.
Yes, I do.
I have no idea what basis they used to reduce your sentence when you're out there on probation, discharging a firearm at other human beings. You were on probation 1 month, less than 1 month when you got this new case. Less than 1 month.